Hello again, I am Blunty. This week, after a few weeks of teasing, security researchers released details on a way to hack the Nintendo Switch. And the big deal news is that it relies on a vulnerability in the NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip itself, the chip that is the beating heart of the Nintendo Switch. And so deep is the exploit, apparently only a hardware refresh could close the hole. As such, the exploit works with all firmware versions and will likely continue to do so. It lets a user connect to the device's USB port on power-up, but bypassing the secure boot system, and thus is able to execute unverified code. It's not a super user-friendly exploitable hack at this time, involving shorting a connection pin on the Nintendo Switch, but sooner or later, you know someone's going to make it easy enough for any layperson willing to burn their warranty. However, if Nintendo keeps to their historical form, I would expect them to ban any hacked Switch from their online services, and perhaps even nuke any associated user accounts detected. They've had no qualms about doing this with previous hacked hardware. Which is why I am personally considering buying a second Switch as an experimental playtime burner, because this stuff is actually pretty interesting to me and I want to play. And yes, this of course opens the door to emulation of older hardware. Something very enticing for Switch owners because Nintendo still has not yet released any kind of virtual console. So we could legally pay, sometimes again and again, for games from older systems. The developer of the popular Gamecube and Wii emulator, Dolphin, has posted a photo of it apparently running on a hacked Switch. And YouTube user Shiny Quagsire has a video showing the opening screen of a Gamecube game, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, running on a Nintendo Switch. And although it's not shown, it's said that the game itself runs at about 20 to 25 frames per second. So the word is, the Linux-based version of the Gamecube and Wii emulator still needs some optimization before games are running at playable frame rates, but it is a promising start. And personally, the thought of having access to Gamecube games in a Nintendo Switch tickles me pink. In fact, over a year ago, before the Switch launched, I made a whole video about what I'd like to see come to the Switch should we ever get a proper, legal virtual console on the Switch, with Gamecube games along for the ride. The Gamecube never did sell nearly as well as its competitors in the market, especially the PlayStation 2 at the time, and there is a lot of almost lost gems from the Gamecube era, some really good Gamecube games that just never got to see the light of day, much like what happened with the Wii U, really. The system was such a failure, but there was some games worth playing, which is why we're getting more than a couple of Wii U remakes for the Switch, so the games can get their time in the sun, and escape their failed hardware cages. So perhaps now, this will be the trigger for Nintendo to finally do something about that. You have to know, they've been sitting on a GameCube Virtual Console option there, just waiting for the right business time to launch it, perhaps waiting for a lull in sales, or an obvious gap in the software release schedule. Or maybe not. Who can say, really? What we can say is with an unpatchable exploit and evidence that the Dolphin emulator won't need a lot of tweaking to get games running at full speed, and of course with every other enticing option a hacked Nintendo Switch presents us with, it is a pretty exciting time, don't you think? So what else would you want running on a hacked Nintendo Switch? The possibilities are very enticing. Me personally, though, my thoughts first go to the simple things, like a video player for when I'm on a flight so I can lighten my carrying load by one iPad's worth. I also imagine the joy of having every Pokemon game all in one place. Of course, with the risk of Nintendo blocking any hacked unit from their online services, shops, and even locking out accounts, it also means I probably can't have one Switch to do it all. I'll need one for the hacky playtime stuff, and one for playing the proper native stuff. Sigh. Can't win them all, I guess. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time.